all, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Emily Sanders, and I am a moderator for KCFF this year. I am joined today by two guests, producer Priscilla Galvez and actor Esteban Comilang, who plays Ronaldo in the film Islands, which is one of our films featured in the KCFF 22 lineup. If you have just viewed the film and are joining us, welcome. We hope you enjoyed. I certainly did. And if not, be sure to check out our digital platform to get a ticket. So thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations on your film. I saw that it won the RBC Emerging Canadian Artist and the South by Southwest Special Jury Award for Narrative Feature. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
my first question that I have for you today is, how did both of you meet the director, Martin Edralin, and come to be involved in this film?
Sure. I can start. I also just wanted to correct. It won the jury prize at South by Southwest for Rogelio's performance. Rogelio Balagtas, who plays Roger.
Thank
just
you.
To clarify.
Sorry about that.
No worries. I met Martin in the summer of. Actually, I'm not sure what the season was, but it wasn't winter. In 2018, the year before we shot the film. I was just coming off of working at a company, and I just started working freelance, and we were connected through a mutual acquaintance who was a producer, and he was just looking for a producer at the time. He had this feature in development. I was really excited to be part of it. I was a big fan of Martin's short film Whole, and had already known of him and his work. And I was just excited that it was a Filipino story, a Filipino-Canadian story, and a lot of the themes like really resonated with just my upbringing and like having grown up in Canada. I was born in the Philippines and I moved here when I was 6, and I was just really excited to be part of something that was like that. It just seemed so new and so different from what I'd seen before coming out of Canada.
Thank you. And Esteban, same question. How did you come to be a part of the film?
I met both Martin and Priscilla when I had my audition. We were packing up for our holiday, yearly holiday back in the Philippines then, and I just had about a week to go before we leave. So, but I had this Islands, saw it on social media, and I was really more interested in packing up and having things done before we leave, because we just had a week before we leave for the Philippines. But nevertheless, I got prodded by a good friend of mine who's also in the movie business. He's a very, very good friend of mine, and some other friends, young friends in the business. They prodded me to have an audition.
Yeah,
which I did, in short, and I got in touch with Martin if they can give me an audition before I leave. So they did, and that's where I met both of them, Martin and Priscilla, on my audition day.
Excellent.
And that's how the story went, and history.
Yeah,
Wow.
And now here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, and that leads me to my next question. Did you have a lot of Zoom auditions, and were there any like particular difficulties in making the film because of the pandemic?
Me, okay. I didn't get any more auditions after the first. I was just given the part where I was going to audition, as is in auditioning, and I was the first one to audition. It came out. We did it early in the morning, about 9 o'clock. So in any audition, I always prepare for it. whatever it is, and I was when I read about the part and the storyline. I was really I got me interested because the narrative is going to be spoken to in my language in Tagalog, and that made me feel excited. Tagalog. I mean, I've been I've had quite a few films on TV, but this was the first time that the whole film whose narrative will be spoken in Tagalog. So, oh my God, I said, boy, this is, and my part there got me more excited because it's me there. I'm at that particular stage where, hey, listen, oh my God, I'm going to be in stages of being demented and all that. So, oh, I got so excited because it's super challenging to me, I thought. So anyway, I auditioned, and after that audition that I had, maybe it lasted 10 minutes. I asked Martin and Priscilla that if should I not have this role, that they should please give me keep me on the loop, because I'm very much interested on this film to be made. And they said, I got the part.
Well,
So
not
I was
surprised.
I said, my God. Ooh, I said, what? Anyway, that's how it started.
But auditions were in person. We actually we filmed this just before the pandemic, and we were in post-production sort of during that time. So we were actually really fortunate that we were able to film this before the pandemic, and yeah, so all the auditions were in person, and actually not all of the auditions. We did end up casting 2 of our leads in Winnipeg, so there were some Skype auditions there. So we're like used to that process already, and it's not a new thing, I guess. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And Esteban, I wanted to, before we began recording this interview, you mentioned that you yourself are an Elvis fan. And so I was wondering, the scene where you're in the Elvis outfit, if that's actually your own personal costume, or if that's one you guys had to pick up for the movie.
That is actually mine.
Yeah.
And the biggest investment is that belt.
Oh yeah, it looks pretty impressive.
That's an authentic copy of Elvis's belt, the eagle. It cost me $500 way back about 12 years ago. It was made in Memphis, because the eagle and that white leather, that is my biggest investment. And I tell you a story. My friends, whenever anybody who tries that belt, pretty soon they'll say, hey, they try to wiggle up and say, it has the Elvis karma. And truth be said, that's the truth. Mine, and I've got several more costumes that I have on Elvis.
Yeah, fantastic. It was such a treat that was one of my favorite moments in the film. It was so great. And that actually leads me to my next question. What are both of your favorite moments in Islands?
Oh, me?
Yeah,
me?
Each of you.
Okay, well, my favorite scene there is my being in the buff in the washroom. That was the money scene for me. That was the money scene for me. And I'm quite sure that most of my friends who went to see that here in Toronto went there just to see that scene. And that was my favorite because, you see, Martin, the director, he gave me a film, a French film, award-winning film, a French film that has many awards years ago. And the story was an elderly woman who's in dementia stage.
Mhm. Was it L'amour?
No, Amor,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
any audition that I get, I research I do my research. But I, like I've always said, the best teacher in acting, to me, in acting, best education in acting for me is just being out in the streets and observing human nature. That's
Mhm.
master class to
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
So, but I did, but I was fascinated with this because there's not much dialogue.
Mhm.
There's not much dialogue except just the expression in the eyes and all that. And I love that, you
Mhm.
know? And that's what I love, being before camera. There's no other place I'd rather be than being before camera. Because I can be whatever I want to be, whatever character I want to be. It's magical,
Mhm.
you know? But what? You want to be Marlon Brando?
Mhm.
Stella, Stella, or Robert De Niro.
Mhm.
You talking to me? Are you talking to me? Or maybe just the more it's actor Matthew Conaughey.
Mhm.
All right, all right, all right. You know, but I love it. So yes, uh, being in that scene to me was the height of the whole movie for me,
Oh, great. Well,
playing that role.
yeah, thank you for sharing, and it's great to get some of that background too. So thank you. And Priscilla, what was your favorite moment in the film?
Um, I love any moment where Joshua's in the kitchen, actually.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
just, I think it just, it's so, I think it's so representative of his journey as a character, um, and and there's just some funny moments there. So those are sort of my favorite bits, I would say.
Yeah, I really love the ways that he interacts with Mary Sol, especially when it's not necessarily like verbal, like when he's kind of hiding to go work out in the
Absolutely.
basement. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, just the
yeah.
way they occupy space together is so great.
Hmm, hmm.
Um, and another question I have again for both of you is what's been the most rewarding aspect for you both in being a part of this project? Priscilla, maybe I'll start with you.
Yeah. I think it was just a really great first feature film for me, I think, as an experience. It was like I think I'll always remember it. It's like super memorable, just like being with a small crew, managing a small budget, and a story that just like really reflects um I think my own personal experience and just like supporting a project like this, and it was just like a really meaningful experience. And I think the pandemic has also um kind of brought that into perspective too, because
Mhm.
I like honestly don't know how we could have made that film today with like
Mhm.
the restrictions, and it was a small house, and with the
Mhm.
budget that we have, like producing now, you have to like think about so many different
Mhm.
health and safety measures, and cost factors ultimately. So yeah, I think I was just I think that's just been a rewarding experience overall, just that it was my first feature film project as a
Yeah.
producer.
It's interesting to know that you were able to get a lot of this done, I guess, before the pandemic too, because I was really thinking about those scenes where everyone's doing the cha-cha and just
Yeah.
how, everyone's elderly there too. So I imagine
Oh
maybe
my
that scene wouldn't
gosh.
have been able to happen. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And I think yeah, and it's also like an interesting film to think about, like how we're like isolated now, and we're
Yeah.
just like stuck inside. It's again, it's like it is such an interesting project to reflect on, like after the last 2 years. And yeah, I think it was just it's really a special film, like that I'll always remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And Esteban, what's been the most rewarding aspect of working on this project for you?
I tell you, even on days that I'm not scheduled for a shoot, I go there anyway. Because early on, since the very start, when we had our first read, uh, felt the family family experience there, we just clicked. And I knew that is going to be fine, super. And it did, and it was until we finished, and even now. But then again, it happened when I just turned 80 in my life. Yeah. I had my very first film also premiered at the Toronto Reel Asian Film Festival 19 years ago. And this is the second feature film. But it was a different from the first, of course, because it's all it's happening on me being an octogenarian, and that means so much to me. Yeah. And being a part of the project, the production crew, the director, and Martin, and the whole cast has really piqued my enthusiasm about, hey, this is just the start of my acting career. I was thinking, oh, this film is my legacy now. I said, this is it. But hey, on account of that, hey, I tell people out there, if they're writing a story for film or television or whatever, and they don't see themselves in it, hire me. I'm always available.
That's great. It's great too to hear that you're kind of like living the meaning of the film as well, right? Like age isn't really a restriction on what you want to do. So.
Hey, 65 is the new 80 now.
Yeah, that's so great. We only have probably a minute left, but the last question I really wanted to ask is what's been the response of the film? I'm especially wondering if everyone in the cha-cha scene got to see the film and what was their reaction?
Yeah, I think everyone's really responding to the film. We've been like so happy with the response, especially like after the South by Southwest premiere. When it premiered in Toronto, which was like sort of like our homecoming, we like got a physical screening, which was really great because it did premiere on at South by Southwest, and it was a digital, it was a virtual festival at that time. So it was just so great to like be in a cinema. I think it also premiered like in physical theaters at like VIFF and Calgary, but it was the one that I was able to attend, I guess. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like we really wanted the dance group, which is an actual seniors dance group in Scarborough, to attend the screening, but with COVID precautions and just it just makes things so complicated. But they a few members got to watch it virtually too. And yeah, we are just fingers crossed, like we're still at festivals, we're in Kingston right now, and fingers crossed that like cinemas will be open very soon and that we can all experience it together.
Yeah. And Esteban, what did your wife think of the film? What's been the response in your family, in your community?
Well, my wife's response, because we saw that virtually, the cast and crew before the screening, the big screen. Of course, big screen's always different. So we saw it at home, and when she saw that Buffy scene in the washroom, she was just nonchalant. She was watching it, and when we went to see it in the big screen, because there we had the relatives and friends who went to see it. They asked her what was, how did she react and all that. She just shrugged her shoulders,
Nothing I haven't seen before.
Nothing I haven't seen. That's it. That's how she reacted. But I've got a few friends who were in the cha-cha scene, and they're wishing that it will be shown here in the big screen. But what they've seen so far, they just so ecstatic. that's because some of them were seen on the camera doing the cha-cha.
Mhm.
And yeah, about 2 or 3 of them, my good friends, and they're all looking forward when it will be shown in the big screen here in Toronto as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
So yes, the response from them, of course, was really, really positive.
Yeah.
Those people in the cha-cha scene, and it was grand. It was so that particular scene was really great because I didn't know. I've heard about that Scarborough senior dance group, and I've had some invitations to join, but I never got a chance really. But until when we had that shoot there, I saw how what I said about 100, 200, 300 of them, so large group, you know, and they
Wow.
were so confused.
Mhm.
And that scene, that not the cha-cha scene, the cameras were roving around and all that, and they were just like pro, they didn't mind about
Mhm.
the camera go whirling around. They just
Yes.
doing their thing there, and that
Totally
was so much
unfazed.
fun. Yes,
That's great. Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's so great to have both of you here. And to audience members, thank you for joining us as well. KCFF 22 runs from March 3rd to 13th this year. And check out other videos in our series to hear from other fantastic Canadian filmmakers and talent. So thank you again.
Thank you so
thank
much,
you,
Emily.
Emily.
Thank you,
Emily,
KCFF.
yes.